Sleep and learn 100 surprising Alaska facts and full history. Soft twilight settles over a continent's rooftop, and northward, the sky still glows where the sun refuses to say goodnight. Welcome to Alaska, the vast unfinished stanza of American geography. Larger than Texas, California, and Montana combined, 6,640 miles of ragged coastline that curls around inlets like a sleeping dragon, 66,000 glaciers grinding quietly against the bones of the earth. Picture this immensity as a single, slow heartbeat, one beat every 100 years, and listen as we drift across it in near whisper. Long before iron rails or oil pipelines or careful lines on treaties, the first footsteps pressed into Beringian dust, Inupiat seal hunters on the Arctic ice, Yupik salmon families on the lower Yukon, Aleut sea otter mariners surfing volcanic fog, Athabascan moose trackers stalking twilight across spruce muskeg, Tlingit and Haida cedar canoe traders whose clan crests still watch the sea in carved red and black. Their languages, more than 20 still spoken, carry storm names and berry seasons Western maps never learned. In 1741, Danish captain Vitus Bering, sailing for the Russian crown, saw serrated peaks break the Pacific haze. Furred prophets followed, sable, sea otter, the soft gold of the 18th century. By 1867, St. Petersburg was broke and cautious. Secretary of State William Seward wrote a check for $7.2 million, 2 cents an acre, for what journalists mocked as Seward's Icebox. They were half right about the ice and entirely wrong about the box. No lid has ever fit Alaska. Move forward to January 3rd, 1959, when a cold pen signed the 49th star into the flag. Then the earth shuddered. Good Friday, 1964. Magnitude 9.2. The second strongest quake ever measured, slid Prince William Sound 30 feet downward, rolled Anchorage sidewalks like tossed blankets, and rang church bells as far away as South Africa. 4 years later, an exploration crew on the North Slope drilled into Prudhoe Bay's pressurized sea of Cretaceous sunlight, and the 800-mile Trans-Alaska Pipeline began to snake south, sliding 2 million barrels of heated crude each day over permafrost and caribou trails and 350 small faults that never asked permission. Pause and breathe. Latitude 51 degrees, 20 minutes north on the Aleutians to 71 degrees, 50 minutes north at Utqiagvik. Longitude 130 degrees west in the Inside Passage all the way through the dateline to 172 east in the Western Aleutians, where tomorrow starts before today has finished speaking. Total area, 663,267 square miles, roughly 1/5 of the lower 48. The highest point, Denali, lifts 20,310 feet into subarctic jet stream. A vertical mile taller than the Grand Canyon is deep. The lowest point is any fingertip dipped in the Gulf of Alaska at tide's hush. Elevations swing like that sculpts weather. Fort Yukon once baked at 100 degrees Fahrenheit on a June afternoon, while Prospect Creek plummeted to -80 under a moonlit January sky, a cold so complete it cracks the ink inside ballpoint pens. Average precipitation ranges wildly. Ketchikan drinks 140 inches of rain each year, while Arctic Deadhorse survives on less than 5. Snow stacks deeper than a one-story house in Valdez. Inland Fairbanks may sit in 40, below crystalline stillness, under aurora curtains, green and crimson at 2 a.m. In summer, the sun simply forgets to leave. Utqiagvik watches a single dawn stretch 85 days. In December, it repays the loan with 67 sunless ones. And yet 740,000 souls keep warm. Roughly 40% live in Anchorage's glacier-carved bowl. Another 10% thread through Fairbanks and the capital Juneau. The rest disperse across river villages, fishing ports, oil camps, tundra research huts, and island schoolhouses where gym floors double as basketball courts and community potlatch halls. 15% of residents are indigenous, the highest share in the Union, while Tagalog, Spanish, and Korean chatter mingle with English on grocery aisles. The median age hovers at 36, kept young by soldiers at Elmendorf-Richardson, slope workers on rotating 2-week shifts, and teachers brave enough to fly into villages on turboprops smaller than some city buses. Money here arrives in lurches. Oil and gas still bankroll close to half the state budget, though production has fallen from 2 million barrels per day in the 80s to 500,000 today. Tourism floats hundreds of giant cruise ships into the Inside Passage each summer. Commercial fishermen haul 1 billion pounds of wild salmon, pollock, and crab, enough fillets to feed every American dinner plate twice. Per capita GDP sits near the national middle, proof that distance dilutes wealth. And each autumn, the permanent fund dividend wires more than $1,000 to every resident's bank account. No other state mails cash to every baby at birth. Wildlife statistics read like frontier tallies. 30,000 brown bears crunch beach sedge and spawn fat salmon. 100,000 black bears browse blueberries behind suburban trash cans. 7,000 to 11,000 gray wolves pace beneath spruce spires. Caribou herds still darken river crossings like moving islands despite recent declines. Bald eagles cluster by the thousands along the tide flats of the Chilkat River, talons glinting like cold daggers in low sun. For every human, roughly 1 moose. For every 5 humans, 1 bear. For every 10, a sea lion. The arithmetic of untamed ratios. The law book keeps odd echoes. It is illegal to whisper in someone's ear while they moose hunt. Illegal to push a live moose from a moving airplane. Illegal to wake a sleeping bear for a photograph. There is, on a forgotten page, a clause ordering bar owners in Fairbanks to shoot any polar bear that wanders inside. Not an idle statute when thinning ice sends hungry travelers roaming. Unemployment rides seesaws. Suicide rates remain among America's highest, yet communities answer with potlucks and fiddle festivals, with whaling crew feasts in Barrow, with gold rush saloons in Skagway, where floorboards echo ragtime and modern card swipes alike. Education sprawls in distance delivery packets and satellite broadband. The University of Alaska Fairbanks launches auroral physics rockets at midnight. Anchorage campus nurses treat frostbite and oil rig sprains. Southeast Campus, above the Gastineau Channel, offers maritime welding certificates where gulls scream through open windows. High school basketball tournaments fill Anchorage arenas every March, broadcast by radio into villages whose snow-packed runways glow under single halogen bulbs. Disasters bookmark memory. In 1989, the Exxon Valdez spilled 11 million gallons of crude into Prince William Sound, coating sea otters in heartbreak and bankrupting herring runs. Each autumn, residents restack plywood tsunami route signs, knowing the Aleutian Trench produces magnitude 8s with unnerving punctuality. Yet light and hope persist in color. In March, the Iditarod dog teams sprint 1,000 miles from Anchorage to Nome, tracing freight trails once carved for diphtheria serum. In July, midnight sun baseball games stretch into 1 a.m. in Fairbanks. No stadium lights, only amber photons bouncing off permafrost haze and the slow hum of mosquitoes thick as fog. Fiscal oddities entertain insomniacs. Alaska levies neither state income nor statewide sales tax, yet a gallon of milk can cost $15 in Kaktovik. Logistics here is less supply chain, more supply maze. In Denali National Park, bus drivers idle quietly so red fox kits can nap undisturbed. The park road locks at mile 15 each August during Caribou Rut. Sightseeing pilots throttle back to glide in silence past Wickersham Wall, dropping 10,000 feet of rock onto their wingtip like a cathedral carved by ice. Far west in Adak, feral cattle graze on runway moss, watched by bald eagles perched on rusted radar domes. During World War II, the same island endured artillery duels with Imperial Japan. Today, you can rent a duplex for the price of an Anchorage parking space, provided you don't mind gale force winds that peel fresh paint in 3 days. Numbers tick on. 3 million lakes, one for every household. More than 100,000 glaciers, nearly all retreating. 9 billion pounds of salmon muscle fighting freshwater gravity each autumn. One pipeline pulsing 3 feet per second through mountains and over 800 rivers. A highway 1,500 miles long, carved in wartime panic, still connecting the state to the world. Silence sounds like snowflakes landing on caribou fur at -40, like wind over the struts of a beaver floatplane, gliding above jade iceberg lagoons, like pencils scratching Tlingit verb prefixes by candlelight in a classroom 100 miles from the nearest road. Industry hums. On the north slope, gas modules the size of cathedrals ride crawlers across frozen tundra. In Palmer, hydroponic greenhouses coax lettuce under 24-hour LED daylight. In Kodiak, shipwrights weld aluminum skiffs that will chase halibut across Bering swells. If you could map daylight alone, August in the interior would show 20 hours of gold. December, only 4. Anti-light, though, shines too. The aurora borealis, green draperies flickering 10 times a second. Indigenous stories call them spirits playing soccer with a walrus skull. Physics names them ionized oxygen. One truth does not cancel the other. Curiosities drift across the ledger. Talkeetna's honorary feline mare, Bethel's parachuting teddy bear fundraiser, Sitka's rain outpacing Seattle, yet offering more sunny winter days than Chicago. Alaska and Hawaii, unlikely twins, share both a 100-degree, record-high, and humpback whales that migrate 6,000 miles between their shores each year. Let your eyelids sag, like melting glacier cornices. Hear the drip torch hiss of firebreak crews on a spruce ridge, the diesel rhythm of a fishing schooner idling in Cordova Harbor, the hush of a snowy owl's wings over the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta. Numbers will keep counting. $69 billion in goods and services, 30,000 brown bears, hundreds of millions of wild blueberries ripening under midnight sun. They will tick long after this track fades and you slip below the mental horizon. Rest now, traveler. Alaska remains, the last frontier, the first dawn, the longest coastline stitched to America's quilt. And its slow immensity will rock you to sleep like an ancient, creaking cradle.